Happy Friday. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, I go live to answer all of your questions. Super excited to talk to you today. We have had quite a bit of buzz in the last 48 hours. So talking about different various things, including Pakistan is now the #3 most common Amazon seller in the United States. So that was really cool to see some of that growth. Pakistan, you guys are super hungry, eager, and a culture of driven people. So excited to see you guys do that. Maybe next year you guys can pass China and knock them out. That would be nice, actually. We'd rather work with you guys in Pakistan. All right, so I'll jump in and start answering questions today. Let's go ahead and dive in. David Scott says, I'm using Helium 10. How can I find what keywords a competitor is ranking for so that I can model success? So I love doing SEO work and keyword work, and I'm going to go ahead and dive in and showcase that today. So I'll hit my sharing screen and we'll dive right into this. So if we just go and type in one of my products, let's go to Amazon.com/Age of Sage, and we'll just take a look at one of these items here. So this particular item, we're having a lot of struggle with right now, trying to get it off the ground. And part of the reason for that, it's related to some catalog bugs. All right, so let's take a look at this item and see what we could do to help it out. And I'm going to load this ASIN over into Helium 10. And we're going to look at the keywords and explain how to make this work. So I'm actually logging into Helium 10 off screen here. They auto log me out. It's one of their worst features about Helium 10. Auto fill in. All right, so I got Helium up. And we're going to go over to Cerebro. And type the ASIN in. We're going to hit Get Keywords. And in here, this product has organically indexed for 214 keywords. This is a newer item. It's only got one product review. It's having a hard time getting off the ground. So the way that you do keyword research, the way that you can see what a competitor is ranking for and model them, as David is asking. So you're going to go and you're going to look at the listing competitors. So this may already have a pretty good idea of who the competitors are just by looking at ads. So this one right here might be a good one to look at. We'll take a look at anything else that we see linked to this item from other various locations, right? So we'll type into chat established mom 2022, see what comes up. So we got one of those cups right there. We'll take that one. And anything else that has a good BSR ranking, we'll compare and contrast. So this one's pretty good. It's got dad on it though. Anything else in here? So I think this one is going to be really good. This one's going to be really good. All right, so let's take a look at this one. So if we grab this ASIN and toss it over into Cerebro, we're going to X out of this one and we're going to type theirs in. And what we're looking for is to see what they're ranking well. So this is a very established product, 2,700 product reviews, 2,700 keywords index. So in here, you can take their keywords, see how they have over 50 keywords in the top 6 there. You can sort it by search volume to see like what is the most relevant. And then on the right hand, you can see the organic rank. So if we wanted to sort this by must be in rank 1 through 10 and narrow this down, there's 110 focus keywords and then sort it by search volume. We then know immediately that the most important keywords for this listing are mom care package, baby welcome box, stuff like that. And so if we look at the product in question, see where we go, all the way back here. Do we have baby welcome box in the title? We do not. So what would be the next step? If we know that our #1 competitor has baby welcome box in the title, we're going to want to edit it and do the same thing. So we'll go over to our title on the back end. So I'm pulling up Sellics Central now. Going to hit edit on this. And we're going to go to vital info. And we're going to figure out like where we could make room for baby welcome box, because that's a keyword that consumers are saying is important. Mom established 22, after baby. So what we could probably do is compare and contrast. Baby welcome box. Is the word after showing up anywhere? Yes. Mommy gifts after baby. So the question then becomes is like, can we make room without removing something valuable? After baby gift box is probably a good keyword, right? But when we look at baby welcome box, do we have welcome box anywhere in the title? We don't. So after baby gift basket welcome box, probably the best we're going to be able to do. So then we go back here and say cool pregnancy gifts, baby bump box, mom to be gifts, new mom, Mother's Day, first mothers, mom to be mothers. And we just go through this keyword after keyword until we find another good one, right? So like baby welcome box was a winner, second keyword on the list. And you just have to go down and just go one by one until you see things that make sense to you, right? New mom, expecting mom. So like most of these, I'm pretty sure we've already got coverage on. All right, so that's the general idea. You look at the competitor keyword rankings, you sort it for the top, you go by the search volume, and then you adjust your copy to make that make sense. So we're going to hit save on this, and then hopefully what will happen is that we'll continue to get some additional keyword rankings on it, and then start to index it better, and then advertise accordingly. All right, good question, David. Nice one to start us off with SEO. By the way, we do have an SEO course that teaches everything I just went through with a lot more detail, and it's only $10. So you can go to mag-school.com. We actually just launched our FBA logistics course. This is free until tomorrow. If you guys want to enroll in this, go to mag-school.com. And the promo code for the FBA logistics course until Saturday, June 25th, is Prime Day 22. So go check that out. And then let's go to the next question in queue here. I think we got Becca. From your experience, what would you consider the pros when sending to Amazon, if any, compared to old workflow? See a lot of cons in discussion boards. I'm aiming to present the warehouse team with positives first. Well, first of all, it's inevitable, right? You don't have a choice. Let's see if we can adjust the camera down a little bit here. And so back to that little FBA logistics course I just mentioned, it explains how to use it. So I don't think you need to sell them on it at all. Just tell them this is the way or the highway. You can't do it the old way after September 1st. It's going to force it. Like you don't have a choice. Now, I do personally like the old way better, truth be told. But it's not hard to learn the new way. So the positive that I would spin, Becca, is this. The average person that takes this logistics course can understand it fully within 60 minutes. It's very, very quick to understand the new format. So that's how I would sell it to them and say it's an easy transition. Take that course, get them enrolled in it. That'll help them out. Karen, good to see you. Hey, Steven, what are your thoughts on launching a tumbler for the crypto day trading niche? I have a design nobody's currently has on a tumbler, but few people do have a coffee mugs and pints. I'd say there's a big demand for that. The challenge is that most people that buy tumblers are women, and most people that invest in crypto are men. So there is a difference between those two niches. So you're going to have a small portion of both populations to consider. But I would say it's a great idea. I would absolutely do it. Should I come through with a completely different design nobody is using? I validated this design via Etsy, where it's doing really well on Etsy. I don't think so. I think you can just go live on Amazon and just, start with 100, see how it does, reorder 500 if it does well. Beast, part 1 of 2. My product has keywords with keyword plus brand name. Am I able to index for that? Do I do it with PPC and target that keyword? Yes, you can. So in certain sectors or verticals, brand names are very, very powerful and index extraordinarily well. I've seen this. I took a coaching call even yesterday where we went down the list. We were looking at their search term report, which is one of the coolest reports ever, guys. Like, you guys got to check this out. The search query report. I actually save a link to it and refer to it almost every day at this point. That's how awesome the report is. So if we go look at this report for one of my products, so one of our brands is called Holstit. We're actually struggling to get this brand off the ground. I've spent $11,000 on ads and only $1,000 in sales have come back. That's how bad it is. Anyway, so it's a holster brand. You can see some of the holsters that we sell there. And on the back end here, you can go week by week and see how we're ranking or what's the importance of it. So like right now, BB gun, I've got 1.8% of the brand shares impressions for BB gun, which doesn't make sense, right? Like I need to be negating BB gun, airsoft. Like these things should be absolutely negated. So if I were to take a screenshot of this and send this over to my team and be like, why are we not negating these things? Because clearly we're wasting ad spend, right, on things that are never going to convert for us. So like these should be negation. So there was a nice tip there on lowering down your ACoS. And that's a good one right there off the bat. I'm going to write this down. And in here, I came up with a new way to call a marketing funnel. I call it the ICAP funnel. And ICAP stands for impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases. And what you can do is you can see like how a product is doing as it goes down the funnel. And this is a really cool concept because impressions, if they're high when they first start out and they go down, that means you have a conversion problem. If your impressions share is lower and as it goes down in the funnel, it goes higher, that means you have a traffic opportunity. It means your conversion rate is superior and you should chase more traffic. So that's why I think this report's really cool. So as I was looking at this report for another brand yesterday, we noticed that 80% of the terms in the search query report were branded terms for competitors. And so this is a direct correlation to your question here is like, can you index for competitor terms? Obviously, yes. And PPC is the best way to do competitor terms because there's a trademark phrases that you can't technically put into the organic or the SEO. So that's a challenge there. I'm unable to put the brand name in my listing. That's correct. And if you put it into any keyword fields, that's high risk. I don't recommend it because you get trademark infringements. Does repeating my best keywords in the back end have a positive impact to rank? So you don't want to repeat it in the same field. So don't put it repeatedly in the same search term field, for example. But yes, you can put it into multiple alt texts or multiple copy locations, title, bullets, A+ content. That's for ranking purposes. It will not help you index. It will help you rank. The difference between indexing and ranking is as follows. Indexing is show up in the top 300 search results. Ranking is moving the needle, moving up in the SERP, moving up in the search engine results page. And you're, of course, trying to target that 1 through 10 section. How do you think about target ACoS? Break even, what generates the most organic sales, and rank? Great question. I would say break even advertising is the default policy or procedure for most advertising strategies. Now, obviously, everybody wants to make a profit. But what people don't realize is that for every one PPC sale you generate, you're going to get 3 organic sales in addition to that over the next 6 months. And so with that in mind, anytime you're at break even with PPC, you're actually making a profit. The way that I like to calculate this is because there's keyword buzz and rankings that are generated from PPC sales. And so that's really important to keep in mind. Now, what generates the most organic sales in rank? PPC is the fastest way to rank a product and index it by just simply getting a sale on a keyword through PPC. It shows your product's relevant for that keyword and it triggers indexing. The other way, though, is through content creation. And this is the cheaper of the methodologies. It takes a little bit longer. But one of the things I recommend doing is putting 500 words of crawlable text into your A+ content. And this is frequently not done. A lot of people don't think A+ content indexes. For those that are super fans of the channel, you guys know better than that. But you know, it still comes up, right? Like we see it all the time. So when we're trying to rank something, we'll put lots of keywords and text information and the bullet points. But then as you scroll down, we have a brand story. If you don't have your brand story yet, I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. Such an important aspect, and you have an opportunity to get a ton of free traffic from this. We actually created this really awesome infographic where we explain how to, like all the things you want to know about brand stories and their elements, where it goes on the page. And it can even scroll horizontally. So this is our infographic that we made about brand story. Here is the actual brand story that we did. Notice how I can click to the right. I can go in and click on different products. Let's go talk about our Mega Pint, for example. Scroll down. This was our biggest hit of the quarter. And then all of a sudden, we've got all this cool stuff down here. And boom, I've got my product description. I've got my product module, my comparison grid. I can cross-sell. I can show the product. I can show cool things like ice and fire, which is kind of neat by itself. It just goes on and on and on, right? So like there's just a lot of opportunities where you can generate organic sales. You can also put behind a photo the alt text, right? So let's see where that went. So, okay, so that didn't work on that one. Hold on. I think the brand story is a little bit different. A+ content module here, wine tumbler, cup, gift, women saying 40th birthday, stuff like that. Probably should do a little bit more Johnny Depp keyword language in some of my alt texts here, but this was thrown up really fast. So these are all the opportunity locations. The search term field, of course, on the back end. Make sure you use 250 bytes, not 250 characters. It's the most misunderstood SEO fact of the day in 2022. Bytes do not count spaces. So we have lots of content where we go in more depth on a lot of those questions. All right, let's go to the next question, and then you guys can queue these cues up for me as we go forward. We do want to prioritize member questions as well as super stickers. We'll go to those first. If you guys want to jump the queue, feel free to do that. If you want to become a member today, just go to My Amazon Guy's YouTube channel, youtube.com/MyAmazonGuy. Click that join button. We'll take a new member question first all the time. All right, Karen says, for several months, my ASIN has had radical daily swings in organic ranking on most important keywords. It never cracks top 20, but will rank from 40 to 160 to 30 to not rank. PPC always in budget. So my guess, Karen, this is going to be a lower volume search term with Amazon doing a lot of algorithm testing to see how your product does compared to others. This is not uncommon in the lower rankings of SEO pages. And it's also possible that you're not actually experiencing radical shifts. It could just be that Helium 10 is tracking them. And they do average weight across geolocations. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But low volume search terms with low conversions typically will see swings like that. It's very, very common. One thing that you could do to combat that is to spend more on PPC. Is probably not what you want to hear, but that's another thing to do. So you get the higher velocity, it'll help out quite a bit. Let's go to Zeke. Zeke, thank you so much for the super sticker there. If we got a question from Zeke, go to him next. What's the deal with Melissa and Doug brand? Amazon is selling their item for the amount we're paying the FBA fee. This is no bueno. Well, that's an interesting observation. So it could be that Amazon is getting a liquidation going for them. If they've sustained this, though, that would be a little bit different, right? So let's go to Melissa and Doug right here. And I don't know which item would be good to look at, but these look like they are only 15% off. Let's see if so that's a 5,000 in toys. So this is a big item. Let's look at the history. Once Helium pops up here, we'll be able to see like the price over time. And of course, it's not populating for us, but we should be able to see like how this was priced over time. You can also use tools like Keepa. So since Helium is not cooperating, let's go over to Camel, and just type it in to see like how this item is priced over time. I'm kind of curious to see. So looks like to me, this price has been pretty static for a very lengthy period of time. So it's probably not a good example of what you were trying to advocate for. But if you have an ASIN in mind, Zeke, happy to look at it. FBA fees are higher on larger items and bulkier and weightier items, of course. And I don't think it's a very good strategy to be selling something that Amazon sells directly. I don't think you're going to be able to do that long term. If you can get some retail arbitrage in the door, I mean, great, but it's difficult. Abu says, Steven, make a Facebook group. Well, I've tried to do YouTube as kind of my main community. It's where I hang out. Most of my content is video, but I will see what I can do about that. We might have to do something like that. Thank you for the recommendation. Becca says, thank you. Let's go back to the rest of the queue. Geraldine, feel free to drive from here. For scaling campaigns, will it work if I simply increase the budgets? I'm running a single target campaign on a high search volume target, but not running out of budget. Increasing budget will not make a difference if that's the case. Will Amazon spend more if I increase my budget? No, I don't think so. You're going to have to increase the bid. Or is it not running out of budget, signifying that I've already maxed out? Pretty confident on this, 95% confident that you'd have to raise your bid to get any more impressions out of that keyword. So there's only a set number of impressions that are available, and at that bid, you're maxing out. It's not the campaign budget that's doing it. What do you do when a bid far exceeds the 7-day CPC? My bid was $4. CPC was $1.41. Okay. ACoS was within my target range, 21%. Do I adjust my bid down to $1.69, or do I leave it alone? Down only. Well, if your ACoS is happy, I would leave it alone. You could try and lower from 404 down to 375 and see what that does. My prediction, probably see no impact. But do not make gigantic changes. You don't want to cut a bid in half. That would probably devastate the campaign and lose some momentum. But if you kept it so it was in a state where you were making modest adjustments and you see modest improvements, great. Do more of that. See the data, double down on it, see what happens. But I would not cut it in half. That would be a bad change. Would not do that. Hey, Jahil, is there a way to re-trigger the honeymoon period without creating a brand new SKU? Yes, but I don't recommend it. You delete everything on the listing, go down to a single word title and single word bullets. You will de-index your entire listing. I do not recommend it. It's not worth it. There's almost I've never had to do it for my own products. I've never recommended any client do it, but we're aware of the technique. I think that you don't want to restart the honeymoon period. It's not a good idea. I think that you're better off going for slower growth or starting a new product from scratch if that's the case. And generally speaking, if the product was not doing well, restarting it won't make much of a difference. Let's say my main keywords is green tea moisturizer. In terms of how broad and phrase match works, would it be more budget efficient to put just the keyword in a broad match and others like green tea, moisturizer for face, skin, body, etc. in a phrase? The broad match keyword would essentially be triggered for any of those phrase match keywords, wouldn't they? So yes, the reason that phrase match is used is because the combination of a keyword could be more effective by limiting it. So if for example, in the example that I showed here, right? So if my holsters are accidentally targeting airsoft and BB guns because we're typing in keywords like gun and whatnot, that is an example of how broad match or an auto campaign can accidentally target words that should not be present in our advertising because we don't have anything to do with some of those toys, right? It's not a toy that we're selling with the holster brand. We're selling holsters, right? For pistols primarily. So that's how I would think of that. The reason why phrase match might be better is because you get that exact match. I'm selling a holster for a Glock. I'm selling a holster for a particular type of gun, right? But I'm not selling pellet guns. I'm not selling BB, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's why I think phrase would be utilized. But in general, when you're not sure what to do, start out with the broad and then add negations to the broad match, right? So like you add negations for BB and for airsoft and stuff like that. And then the campaign will level out and you'll be just fine. Oso says, what techniques you use for pricing your products on Amazon? Well, I look at the competition. I undercut them when I first launched the product, and then I try and go for margin following that and raise the price as much as possible. But velocity is king when you're first launching a product. You want to get as much velocity up as humanly possible when the product first goes live. If the product doesn't sell, spending more on ads can help, but what helps even more than spending more on ads is simply lowering the price down. So in general, pretty loosey-goosey on pricing methodologies. From my experience, you're better off testing in live environments and just seeing what the consumer is willing to pay. And then based on that, extrapolate and make micro adjustments up or down. Fahad says, how important or significant is the featured brand filter on the left-hand side of search results? Not significant. How many customers as a percentage actually filter the results to show only featured brands? I would say we're talking maybe 1 out of 1,000 people would probably use that. That's a made up stat by me, but it's probably accurate. And so if you're worried that you're not showing up as a featured brand, there's nothing you can do to get in there. And there's nothing really you could do to focus on it. So I would just ignore this particular thing as a non-issue. But in general, if you have a brand and you're the dominator in a space and you're not showing up, there could be a brand node ID issue and you may want to ticket that. Very rare. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. The text in a brand story blocks 70% of the wallpaper picture. Is there any way around this so customers can see most of the wallpaper image in the brand story? Honestly, no. And I don't think you should worry about this. Nobody's reading the brand story. Just chock full keywords, get the brand name in there and talk about things, because that's what's really going to move the needle is the keywords. Images are for people, text are for robots. But the brand story is really kind of a secondary thing. It's lower on the totem pole. I really wouldn't worry about this at all. Nope, can't solve this one, but I would say not a problem to begin with. What are your thoughts on getting 200 tumblers sent blank with no design to my 3PL warehouse, then to some customization company where I can get 50 customized with the given designs? Yes, I think that's a great idea, Karen. The tumblers are very trendy, so speed is the question. Like, how quickly can you move the needle when, I've got my mega pint cup coming out and we do it within 3 days of the trial going on, right? Like, first to market, get all the benefits. Now it's kind of dying off. Not as many people are buying it. So the trend's already over, right? So like, speed is the name of the game if you're going to do customization. However, if you can use something where there's like a mama bear or a papa bear mug like this is an evergreen item. This will never go away. And of course, customization like this would work. But the problem is customization in terms of like, hey, come in here and type your kid's name on it. You're not going to be able to do what you're describing at all. So 50 run rate, sure. Test things out. No problem there. Send these 50 to Amazon, test the sales of the design, have the other 150 to either try another design if the first element went well, so that sell that design on the remaining 150. So yeah, I mean, it's a valid strategy for sure. Let's go to the next question. ACoS coming over from LinkedIn. How can I check which keywords are generating more sales organically? So Amazon does not release the organic sales specifically, but you can pretty much figure this out. Take your overall sales, minus out the PPC sales. There's your organic sales, right? They don't actually break that out in the business reports, but it's pretty common knowledge. You can use any various PPC tool that tracks profit margin and sales, and they'll tell you how much is from keywords, from PPC, and then you can backtrack it out the rest of the way. But that's how I would generally do it. Also, ACoS, another way you could do this is you could look at a report like Cerebro and filter for keywords in the top 10. Those are the keywords that are generating the sales, pretty much guaranteed. Hey, Steven, good name, by the way. What's your outlook on Amazon for the next 3 months? Are you seeing your accounts down in Q2? Yes. All accounts are generally suffering from inflation, high costs. Buyers are spending most of their money on commodity items. Nobody's going to spend money on my stupid "This Is the Way" beer glass. Finale of Kenobi last night wasn't that great. They're going to spend money on staples like milk and bread and stuff like that, right? So like, they're not going to be doing gift items and some other things. So if you're in a staple category, you're probably up in sales right now, actually. But if you're in a non-staple category, sales are rough. I'm still very positive on the Amazon platform, but I think the economy is going into a depression right now. I think the next 2 years minimum are going to be very harsh. And we're going to see some receding economic lines. So what you can do combat all of that is invest in search engine optimization and make sure that you're organically ranking. So you spend less money on PPC because PPC costs are also up 35%. Let's go to Mark's question. Just popped in here. Thanks for the donation, Mark. If in a campaign with variations, variation A gets more favor than others, should I pause the rest and create a new campaign with the other variations? Yes. Also, I would put more of your ad spend behind your best seller because you want one power variation on a particular listing. And I can demonstrate this quite easily. So if I go to one of my listings here, we're gonna go to my Momster store, and then we're gonna go over to my wine glass. So if we go to I'm not drinking alone, I'm social distancing. So this is one of my former winner products, over 1,100 reviews on this particular parentage. And so this is the power listing on the variation tree, right? So each one of these variations are slightly different on the text. And of course, each one of these needs its own keyword. So yes, each has its own campaign, right? If you have a campaign with multiple variations, and some variation trees are a little bit more like size variation or color, for example. So if you have like a blue taking all the traffic and black and red aren't getting traffic, for example, if you set up your own campaign for those other products, that's going to be a superior methodology. The more segmentation you do in PPC, the more effective it will become because you won't have cannibalization taking sales from variation B and C away because A is taking all the impressions. So this is a very interesting conundrum, right? So I love talking about parentage theory because it's widely misunderstood. What people don't realize is that only one variation will show up in search results at any given time. This includes PPC. So if you have things parented together, it's because you want to combine the reviews and you think it's a better consumer experience to show lots of things in one location. But you don't want to have two power listings parented together typically because they would be better off orphaned by themselves to gain the SEO traction in the search results. When you have a lot of each product can rank itself and show up multiple times in the search results. But kind of getting back on topic with the original heart of the question here, variation A is getting more favor probably because Amazon saw it convert better. So the only way B and C are going to have a chance is if you segment those out and put them onto their own campaigns. Even if you're using the same keywords, which do not cause you to have increased costs, by the way. A lot of people, it's kind of a misnomer. If you have the same keyword on multiple campaigns, you're not bidding against yourself. Nothing to worry about there. But whether you should pause the variation B and C on the original campaign may or may not be necessary. You might just be able to create the second campaign and put them there. But I probably would pause them overall. I think ultimately I would, and then just segment them out so they get better off there. Rahman, thanks for joining our channel today and becoming a member of my Amazon guy. Welcome to the channel. I target gold candle holder broad match in search terms. I see that Amazon is spending on candle holder search term. Is that possible with broad match? Gold candle holder and candle holder. Yes. So yes, that would make perfect sense because a broad match will include anything that could be remotely close to that search, including a phrase of the broad. So if you wanted to target gold candle holder only, but not just regular candle holder, what you would want to do is an exact match on gold candle holder to prevent traffic to regular candle holder by itself. The other thing that you could do, Abdallah, is negate candle holder as an exact match on a broad match if you know that that one particular keyword doesn't do well. Very, very specific advice there. Hopefully that's helpful. Eli, how do I get my asked question to be next to my ratings? Let me think about how you're asking this question. So if we look at a listing, so here is a rating right here, my asked question. So down on the bottom here, there's a section for ask questions right here. So Eli, are you asking how to get the section next to this section? Is that the question? There's no way for you to control this part of the detail page or this part of the detail page in terms of where it shows up. So if that's your question, the answer is not possible. If you have a different question along these lines, though, let me know clarify that question for me. I'll come back to you. According to Amazon data, I got 5,900 page view, 4,300 search sessions last month. In PPC, I got 1,300 clicks. Search catalog performance, 1,500 clicks. Does this mean most of the traffic isn't any of those? All right, so I need to really break this question down. Does that indicate most sales is probably coming from sources other than PPC and organic rank, like post, product impressions, wish lists, old add to cart products, links, and so on? Go back to part 1 on this one. All right, so this is very, very technical. 1,500 page views, 4,300 sessions. So that means there's 4,300 people and about 1,600 of them are clicking twice. 1,300 clicks inside of PPC specifically. And the search catalog performance shows 1,500 clicks. So of that means 3,000. So there's 1,300 people that are not getting to the page through those two tracked methodologies. So where are they coming from? One of the ways they could be coming from is through the brand. So go to part 2 again. So that's possible. External traffic could be the remainder of this, most likely. Social posts is also possible, though I would be surprised if Amazon's not counting social posts as part of the organic rank traffic. So that wouldn't make sense to me. I don't think old add to cart products is probably doing much. Repeat shoppers could be maybe where they're coming back. But I bet my sneaking suspicion here, Abdallah, is this is external traffic that's making up the difference. If you find out that you're rank 1 in Google for a particular term, let's say like my wine glass, for example, was organically ranked number 1 in Google, that would be a big deal, right? And so there would be a lot of traffic coming from that. So traffic sources and data sets, this is a big pain point in the system right now. And Amazon's getting better and better. One of the things they announced earlier this week on Tuesday is they're now giving real-time by the hour updates in their APIs. So that's a really big change to the system. I believe they'll probably they'll probably roll that out to Seller Central in 6 months. All right, so real quick, I'm going to give a plug to jobs over at My Amazon Guy. If you guys are looking for a gig, we'd love for you to apply. myamazonguy.com/jobs. I made a really interesting LinkedIn post this morning talking about how hard it is to be a brand manager in an agency. And so I'm in particular really looking for well-articulated individuals who can combat the difficulties of being a brand manager. One of the biggest problems is nobody wakes up at the beginning of their day and says, hey, I want to go work at an agency, right? Nobody wakes up and says, I want to go work at an agency that does the most complicated stuff, specifically on Amazon. So this is the LinkedIn post I put up. Hiring brand managers. Your job is thankless. Amazon will frustrate every good idea you have. You will solve problems all day long, be asked for new ideas on multiple fronts simultaneously to grow sales for boring products in overcrowded categories. Clients will ask you to reply to emails in under 60 minutes at all hours. Slack will feel like you're connected to the bored collective because there are so many pings. Nonstop action, never-ending demand for accuracy and deliverables. Your fingers will be tired. Your voice will be hoarse from upholding your core value of strategic communication. But you will learn more in 1 year working at My Amazon Guy than you can get in a 4-year stint making twice as much out of an unfulfilling corporate desk job. And you can do it from home in a t-shirt. Friendly introverts who articulate well and command calls desired. Your college degree is worthless. And if this all sounds nice and neat and good to you guys, send a resume over to jobs at myamazonguy.com. You can also put a formal application in on the website. We, of course, do appreciate that. Steps to get in: take a culture index survey, send your resume, do an interview. Super basic process that we have. And we're always looking for talent. We're always hiring. We hire anywhere in the world. If you can do the job and you're competent, we hope you apply. Jeffrey says, Does the section above the bullets and below the title, special ingredients, carry the same weight as the title or the bullets? So I would say that that particular field in certain categories would very much have a high exposure rate for search term use. So, like if you think about it, supplements, for example, and the ingredients, people are looking for specific ingredients in their product. That's going to be a very compelling thing that Amazon's looking for. Title has the highest weight, no question about it. Search term field, second highest. Bullets, probably third. Special ingredients and stuff like that, probably on par with the bullets. That's probably where I would put it. And then A+ content would be below that. Alt text below that. Social posts below that. In that order for the detail page in terms of ranking impact. Eli says, how is that same keyword has a different default bid in different campaigns? That's a good question. My hope is it's within like 10% of each other. If it's not, there could be a bug in the data. It could be that you're using different products in different campaigns potentially. It's probably not the case though. If you have the same product showing different default bids in different campaigns, that of course is kind of an interesting data point. I have seen this, and I know what Eli's talking about. What could cause that though is questionable. It could be it's a moving target, could be different data updates, could be delayed updates, and it could be could be a lot of different factors. I don't really know for sure. I'm just guessing. We got our beard guy, Just Jay. Love the beard, man. And the bald head. Sometimes the questions are right next to reviews and sometimes below. I've wondered why also. So Amazon A/B tests the location. Certain categories, reviews are more important. Certain categories, questions are more important. Amazon does have data to see what the consumer engages with the most. I think that's also a factor in this. We've also seen Amazon test the location of photos, whether they show a photo stack of 6 versus 8. Whether they show the secondary images on the search results versus not. They're running lots and lots of A/B tests right now. So if you see things moving around, it's because Amazon is always testing, and they test a lot. They do a lot of different tests. Tyor says, how to change the product listing image in target market without changing images in source market. So I don't recommend doing this, but if it's a really big problem, switch the UPC in the secondary markets, load it under a different UPC. Now the reason you shouldn't do that is because then the reviews won't combine. But if you're maybe one of the questions, maybe I misunderstood the question. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to expedite changing it in multiple locations at the same time. And for that, you should use a tool like Channel Advisor or Sellbrite or many other tools. We do have a list of tools we recommend on the website. If you go to myamazonguy.com and scroll down to third-party services we recommend, there's a bunch of tools in here that we've used and we recommend. So if you need photography, you can go to Fast Photography, for example. Scroll down and look for, let's see where we got. Sellbrite should be on this list. There it is. Sellbrite right in front of me there. So we've used them quite a bit for a lot of different clients. And then if you load it there, you can program it to load to not just Amazon in the US, but Amazon EU, not just to Amazon as a marketplace, but also to eBay and Walmart, all in one location. So that is, if you get lots of SKUs, then technology is your solution. Any tips on monitoring the growth or shrinking of a niche and competitor sales? So yes, what you can do is you can track your BSR against your competitor to see how your parity is doing. If, for example, you average 5K and they average 10K, and then all of a sudden they're at 5K, you know you have a problem, right? So you can look at BSR. The other thing you could do is look at the keyword traffic over time. And this is one of the reports you could use. So let's go over to my Age of Sage. And I have a really good use case study where I looked at one specific keyword, sage candles for cleansing house. See how we have the search volume for 2,900 right there? Now, we're going to switch the week to 24. Let's see if it changes. Sage candles for cleaning house. See how the search candle search volume went down to 1,500? What does that tell us? It tells us that's a shrinking niche, right? So certain times of year, you're going to have different search query going up and down and what's important, whatnot. So that's kind of be one of the factors to that. But in terms of strategy, okay, so you just wanted to know about the monitoring. I would use the search query report. I would use Cerebro, and I would track the market inside of the market tracker in Helium. And then I would also just manually look at BSRs. Great question. Fahad says, if a product I am selling is alleged by a customer to have caused them physical harm, allergic reaction, who is liable, me or the manufacturer? Do I need to have product liability insurance? This is a moving target right now. The courts in California are the number one reason this is a moving target. The courts in California are holding Amazon accountable. Amazon is going to hold the sellers accountable, and the sellers are going to hold the manufacturers accountable, right? So you're going to see this huge chain of events happen. Do you need product liability insurance? Yes. This was settled last fall. You absolutely need to have product insurance. If you don't, you're going to have some risks. Now, most of the time, these things fizzle out. And, you know, I think most consumers are not going to hold an allergic reaction and go to court over something like that. It's not worth the hassle typically. But you better believe that the court is going to allow the consumer to go after all parties involved. That's going to happen. So just be prepared for that. But if you have product liability insurance, it's the right thing to do right now. Eli says, some listings have a line next to the rating saying 20 asked questions with a link to the questions. I have seen that. That's just one of those A/B tests that Amazon has kind of floating around. All right, so we're going to try and, I know we got a lot of questions in queue here, so I'm going to try and go faster with these next ones, so just be prepared for that. Let's go lightning round. Can you get Amazon to stop using FNSKU and only use the UPC so the factory doesn't have to label them? Yes, but only in certain categories. You can create a new SKU and switch it to UPS label. This will not work in anything edible, so consumable, or topical. So think lotions, creams, medical, and then consumable, grocery, supplements, all that stuff. Any other category can use UPC. The Great Con says, I'm someone who is unfamiliar with Amazon FBA, would like to make good income on it. What resources do you recommend? Do you recommend your courses for newbies? Yes, my 4 main courses, SEO, PPC, design, and catalog. Those are the 4 newbie courses. We're also working on a brand new to FBA course, taking a little bit longer to build that one than anticipated. Keep in mind, do not start selling on Amazon unless you have a primary income or a way to invest. It's very costly to invest when you first get started. I would run a month of retail arbitrage, just go buy random things from random stores, just to go through the motions of understanding. That's how I think most people learn, is by doing, right? Following that, start your own private label product, launch in 3s. Don't do 3 variations, do 3 unique products. 1 will do well, the second will fall flat and break even, and then the third will just be a complete loss. So if you follow that methodologies, you'll be okay. I do recommend getting into this space, but I also recommend keeping your eyes open, wide open as you enter it. It's not passive income. Anybody telling you that is lying. Coming in from LinkedIn, from Cheyenne. Trying to update the bullet points for one of my ASINs, but after a flat file, delete, relist, all the best efforts, nothing works for me. Amazon support is no use for this issue. Data is updated in the back end, but not reflecting on the front end. Brand registry tickets are your best friend on this particular question. I also have a video. If you go to Google and type in title stuck, my Amazon guy, you will find the video that answers this question. Go check that one out. Lunga says, what do you think is better to do? Create a sponsored brand campaign or a sponsored brand exact? Broad match versus exact question. So I'd probably say exact match for this particular one. If you have to pick between the two, I would test both. But the problem is it's higher in the funnel. The ACoS is going to be significantly higher for a sponsored headline ad or sponsored brand. So just keep that in mind. Exact match will cost even more than broad match. So I would start with exact, just test it out. Let's go to the next one. Shahid says, sir, kindly discuss a little bit of Amazon online arbitrage. So I actually try and avoid this topic most of the time because my core audience is private label and brand building. But I will say this, it's a great way to get started in the Amazon space. it is not a great way to make long-term income. It's a hostile category. Accounts will be suspended for drop shipping if you do any of that work. Very difficult to make a profit doing arbitrage, in my opinion. It's all about sourcing product. Your entire job is sourcing product nonstop. You won't spend any time building a brand or a community. The moment you stop sourcing product, what happens? You don't have any product. Your sales are done. So it's very time intensive. Let's go next question. Dana says, how to find the winning contributor of the ASIN. My client is brand owner having brand registry, but we're unable to change the title of the listing. We've tried delete and relist methods. So I'm going to give you the same answer. Google title stuck, my Amazon guy. Brand registry tickets are going to be your best friend. By the way, here's the actual Google results. How to fix stuck titles in Amazon attributes. This is the video for you, Danish. I'm posting it in the chat for you. Mutayab says, oh, best recommendation, Perpetua, Sellics, or other. So here's the funny thing. Perpetua bought Sellics. So they're one and the same now. Perpetua, I think, is a better company. Sellics has a better tech piece. I know that sounds weird. When you put them together, though, they're in pretty good shape. I like both companies, by the way. So, yeah, either one's good. Most important keywords have suggested exact match bid of $1.75 to $2 to be conservative. I'm starting with them at 1.2 to 1.4. Thoughts on this as a way to rank for these keywords? I think that's fine. You're going to show up in rank like sponsored rank 10 through 20. Impressions will be limited. Test it out. See what happens. If the ACoS is good, rank the bid up higher. Uzair says, if a client is hesitant to give a child access, so that means add as a secondary user, I think he means. How to audit this advertising account? What information should we ask them to give? Have them download you an entire campaign report from the bulk sheets in advertising reports. That's the best way to give them an audit. Good question. Really good question. I had my brand registry accepted 2 months, but all of a sudden it got disconnected. I tried to apply again, got rejected, say that the account or user was used for abusive conduct. We have a lot of false positives that this occurs to. Sebastian, go check Canada. If you are suspended in Canada, this is 9 out of 10 times the problem that I see when somebody brings this question up. If it's not that, you need to figure out what they are considering as abusive conduct, but it's very difficult to resolve this problem. This is a 10 out of 10 difficulty question, but 9 out of 10 times it's Canada. Check Canada. Stephen Pope, if we have a product, main keyword shows products the same niche, but these products are made up of different materials. Can we use this keyword as a main keyword? Yes. I'm trying to make sure I understand. Keyword shows okay, so what does the consumer say? Does the consumer find that keyword relevant to your product? If yes, you're in good shape. Use it. And the data will tell you. Justin says, is it a risk to have one child made in USA, another child made in China? Could a customer buy the Chinese made one and then complain to Amazon they thought it was made in the USA? No, this is not an issue because the complaint would have to be specific to the product they purchased in the detail page. I don't see any constraints here. One of the things that you could do, Justin, though, is use a product grid where you say made in the USA on the one, but not checking the box on the other. And do like a good, better, best model where you're like, hey, you want to pay more, get a higher quality item? Here you go. That's how I would solve for this one. Tunke, what do you think about high pricing for products with better marketing content in a high competitive market? 100%. If you win on price today, you're going to lose on price tomorrow. So having a higher price item that you build a community behind and have higher, more elegant designs, definitely recommend it. It's the only way to survive. Jay says, any ideas how you deal with black hat competitors massively upvoting your negative keyword? or the questions or the sponsored or the reviews as well, right? Yes, this is a very big problem. It's usually the Chinese that are doing it, unfortunately. And I don't necessarily have a good way to combat it. It's usually you got to have to file reports and violations, and then it falls on deaf ears at Amazon, and you're just spending more time worrying about it. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. I would just try and keep doing your thing. Jaleel says, is it permissible on Amazon to send my product display page link to my friends, excluding my family? Well, I mean, you could say send your link to anybody, just don't ask for reviews. That's just what the worry is, right? You can't incentivize reviews. Send your product to anybody, though. It's totally fine if your mom buys it. No big deal. Akash says, how can I check which keywords are generating more sales organically? I think we don't know the answer to this question, but we can make some assumptions. I think the search query performance report is the #1 way to ascertain this. Things that are higher up here, you're converting really well on, and you can see the add to carts and the shipping purchases, right? So like right here, total count, brand count, the number of purchases and all that. So if I have 36 sales on the keyword Sage, 2% of the brand market share for the week 24, that's the answer right there. We know exactly how many sales came in off this keyword. You do need brand registry and the search query performance report. Fahad says, if I have multiple child ASINs because I use different keywords listing on the back end, alt text in order to max out my search terms. Yes. So this is a hotly debated topic. I'm of the belief that child keywords can be unique per child. Now, however, if you have like a 30 child variation tree and they're all only different by size or only different by color, I don't think you're going to see a lot of results from that by customizing them. But if you have a parentage with variations that are very rapidly different from each other, absolutely focus on this as a core initiative. Keywords are stored at the child level. They are not stored at the parent level. Therefore, if you break up the parentage, each child will rank an index by itself. That's the proof of that question. So yes, it makes sense to spend time on each child independently. And in terms of how you rank that against all of the other things and activities you're working on, well, if you think about it, SEO has a long-term effect. So anything that has a long-term effect and takes minimal amount of effort, it's generally a good idea to prioritize, is it not? Uzair says, your LinkedIn post, the cure to a high conversion rate is to grow traffic. If your conversion rate is above 15%, you're leaving sales on the table, spend more on PPC. What does this mean? Well, this means that you have not purchased enough traffic. That means you haven't lowered your conversion rate. You need to lower your conversion rate by getting more traffic, i.e. converting acquisition. The acquisition conversion rate is always lower than the status quo. If I have 100 customers that bought from me last week, a portion of them are going to come back and buy from me this week with no action taken. But to find 100 new customers, it will cost me significantly more to acquire those customers. Therefore, you have too many people that are buying your product and not enough new customers, new to file acquisitions. Is there a way to see specific details of an order made in ad campaigns and ad groups? Nope, there is not. Great question, Eric. Let's keep going. I'm going to try and lightning as many of these as we can. Adil launched a couple of products in October with FBA. No optimization for the PPC. In the start, due to the honeymoon sales period, was good. Now it goes down to 0 sales. What to do now? Relist or opt? Just start the PPC campaign and try and ramp it up. Go for relevancy. A relist could be usable, but it would. I think you had the Q4 bump is what happened to you, Adil, and you'll probably get it again even if you don't relist. I would not relist though. Relisting is generally not a recommended procedure. Deepa says, how to solve tax problem on Amazon, showing me duplicate details. Redo the tax interview and call them if that doesn't go through. Sifala Caro says, how are you adjusting budgeting for the upcoming July 4th 3-day weekend? Down. Sales are going to be down for July 4th unless you are selling fireworks or July 4th party favors. It's everybody is away from their house. Nobody's shopping on holiday weekends. Alexander, I launched a couple of products in October. We did that one. Go next. Sean says, how do you determine what category to launch a product? Here's my answer to this. Pick what you know. For example, see that chessboard right here? One of my listeners gave that to me, by the way. That's present today, in fact. And they know that I used to play chess competitively when I was growing up. I played in the U.S. Open. I was a nationally ranked chess player. In my younger age, I taught in 200 chess lessons in 200 elementary schools in Utah. I've taught lots and lots of chess lessons. I'm an expert at chess. I could sell any chessboard, any chess set, any clock, anything. I'm a premier top 1%er when it comes to chess. That's how you select a product. Stick to what you know. Then go look at the data. So I understand chess. I know I'm going to sell a chess product. Then I go look at the product data and say, what is in demand in what I know? Then use the data to do that. So So the other thing you could do is you can go for cultural waves, right? So like I use my tumblers as an example with the mega pint that we sell, right? So if I know that if I sell something that's going to have a cultural wave, I can chase the wave. Top Gun, here's another one, right? So like Top Gun movie, really good movie, highly recommend it. Really awesome. And we know that this is going to be a winner this year because of that, right? So that's why we jump on it. Now, not very many sales on this, but we're trying. You know, you got to try it. All right, next question. Brad Sutton from H10 put out a 2-part SEO series where he says quite a few things contrary to MAG. Well, I show my results. That's what I'll say on that. One is to not keyword stuff titles and do not repeat individual words and titles. So I'm not a proponent of saying repeat individual words and titles, by the way. And then keyword stuffing titles on new listings is superior, but on mature listings is not. And we do pull keywords out of titles as a listing matures. So I actually don't think there's anything that conflicts in that statement. What is the keep in mind, SEO has multiple phases, right? So like I'm making SEO statements particular to a particular product in a particular time. We run phases. We don't run the same thing for all products. So what can be true in phase 1 is not true in phase 4. What is the relationship between short tail keywords and main keyword in ranking on Amazon? I mean, if we rank 100% on short keyword, then how much we rank on the main keyword? I think this is a long tail versus short tail keyword question. And if you do well on short tail, you will do well on the long tail typically. If you do well on the long tail, you will not necessarily do well on the short tail. This is a relevancy question. Certain keywords with short tail have higher search volumes, harder to rank. Long tail, easier to rank. You can get more relevancy by having exact matches on the listing. Cute says, I have a product that costs $13. Produce this product cost me $3. Amazon takes $6. My profit is $4. What do you recommend PPC to spend per keyword to move it into the negative keywords? So you're going to spend $4 to acquire a sale, break even. So that means if you have a 25% conversion rate and costs 1 click per CPC, then your bid is $1. You convert 1 person out of 4, you're break even, good to go. Jacob says, are they getting rid of Amazon order imports? I saw starting in September. Yes, they are. This is why we released the FBA logistics course for free to help everybody out, because September 1 is going to come around very, very quickly. Would you recommend negative keyword targeting different ad match types? If I were to run a broad campaign, also running phrase and exact, the same keyword, should I negate the target phrase and exact? Here's my answer to this question. Principle statement. Never negate a keyword that is good and working. If you are setting up a new campaign, you've never done anything before, go ahead and negate segment out accordingly. Hyper segmentation, no problem. But if you have a broad match campaign that has keywords that are showing up, that are doing well, leave them alone. Do not ever negate a good keyword. Next. Sydney says, have you ever experienced competitors buying your product, submitting a false claim against your product, i.e. this item hurt me? Yes, this happens, unfortunately. But honestly, you're protected with product insurance these days, so I don't really worry about it. Also, what are they going to do? Follow a false claim, a police report? What are they going to do? Right? They're not going to do that. They're just trying to get you in trouble with Amazon. And with Amazon, unless you have thousands or not thousands, dozens of reports, you're not going to have any problems. Tunkay says, in case we didn't find out, is there a regional and national BuyBox? Yes, there is. What do you think? Any experience? We got it directly from Amazon support. So geolocated, depending on where you're located compared to an FBA facility. This is how the testing that we did showed that depending on your range. So for example, if you're in range of Prime Now, that is 2-hour delivery of an FBA facility, you're going to have a very different BuyBox versus somebody that's in a rural county that's not within the Prime Now category. Also, if you're in Florida, but there's no FBA inventory in Florida, and a guy is in New York, and there's 1 unit left in New York, the one that's going to show up in New York is going to be in the BuyBox 100% of the time. In ASIN targeting campaign, what could be possible reasons on low impressions other than low bids and low traffic on the ASIN? Relevancy. That would be the next thing to look at. All right, we're going to do 3 more questions here. How to find the winning contributor of the ASIN. My client is brand owner, having brand registry, but we're unable to change the title of the listing. We've tried to delete. So brand registry tickets. The same video that I've referenced 3 times now. How to fix stuck titles and bullets. Brand registry tickets. This is the video you all need to watch. Danish needs to watch this video. What techniques to use for pricing your products? We did this one. Go next. And when applying for an internship at My Amazon Guy, how should our resume look? Any tips? We don't care about format. We just want to know where you're competent. Tell us where you are competent, why you are the best in the world at one particular task. We are hiring specialists, not generalists. We want to know you are a mile deep and an inch wide on one topic. If you're the best in PPC, talk about everything related to PPC. If whatever you are the best at, that's what we want to focus on. So if you want to get an internship, you can apply over at myamazonguy.com/internships. We are always hiring. We have almost 300 employees at My Amazon Guy, and we're a full-service agency provider. Everything we can do to produce sales in the categories of SEO, design, PPC, and catalog management, full-service provider. How can we serve you? We've been making updates to the website and upgrading it. So if you haven't been there in a while, go check it out. Lots of a la carte services. You can see those right on the service screen right there. Anything from trademark orders, fastest in the West on this, by the way, 1,000 trademarks processed in the last 2 years. Brand name changes, full listing updates, competitor research, SEO, running A/B tests, building brand stores, A+ content, and much more. We got a bunch of free guides, 1,000 videos. You can check out our masterclass on SEO for free right at myamazonguy.com. Hope you guys check it out. If you like today's show, help me out by adding something into the comment section of a keyword such as Amazon FBA, Amazon SEO, Amazon PPC. All of these keywords will help us rank with the tutorial videos on Amazon. We really appreciate everything you guys do to contribute to the community and to other agencies and other providers out there. It's not me against you. It's all of us against Amazon. Not me against you, other sellers, not me against you, other agencies. Hope you guys check us out. Got courses over at mag-school.com and many other things that we're working on. Thanks for all you do. We'll see you next Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, leave your questions in the comments. I come back and answer those. We'll see you guys later.